Today on episode 71, our Wade Davis episode of Typical Chicago Fans, we have a loaded show. We have Sinkers and Floaters, The Last Dance Week 5 and Finale recap, the return of sports, MLB player proposition, local food spotlight, and a TCF top 3 of breakfast foods. Let's roll. Hello and welcome to episode 71, our Wade Davis episode of Typical Chicago Fans. It is Tuesday, May 19th. I am Boomy on Twitter at BoomyTCF. Make sure to follow the main page at Typical_Chicago. Go to all of your social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Follow us on those. Head on over to our YouTube page and subscribe there. Just type in Typical Chicago Fans for all of our content that we do. It's on video as well as podcast form. But be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify. Gigantic thank you to our sponsor, Lodi Tap House. Be sure to check out both of their Facebook pages for their Maple Park and their Utica locations. Hit them up this week for delicious food down at the Utica location, which is the one nearest me. Get yourself a fully elote burger. It's one of the best burgers I've ever eaten. If you're going to the Maple Park location, make sure you get a growler or a crawler full of any of the delicious beers they have. It's just a perfect pairing to go with their delicious food. So thank you to Lodi Tap House. But go back to Twitter. Make sure you follow the guys that I am joined by tonight. We have Zach at ZLiliaTCF, Matt Schoolfield at Schools_01, and we got Pigoy at TCF Pigoy in the building. Boys, how we doing tonight? I know we're sitting post the Last Dance finally being over. Or have we all recovered in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, I'm more sad than anything about it. Like I said, the ending kind of was a gut punch to a lot of Bulls fans. Like a lot of it, yes, it's nice to look back at, and then now it's just like we've done nothing since then. We've gone to what? They've won 5 playoff series since then, and
was it one Eastern Conference final?
Yeah, one Eastern Conference final. That we had Derrick Rose there for a little bit with the hope, and ever since then it's been nothing. And we're in a spot. We got new management now, but it's whatever. But it was an awesome documentary, an awesome way to end it. It just kind of sucks that we have. I guess they got the we got the 30 for 30s with like Lance Armstrong or whatever, and then we will have the Sammy Sosa one. Yeah. But that's not until a few more weeks. I guess for some reason the Lance Armstrong thing is 2 parts. Like I don't know how they're gonna make that 2 parts. But overall, amazing series.
Absolutely.
No, yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I think, like you said, we get a little bit of a carrot dangled out to us with three decent looking 30 for 30s to come up in the next few Sundays. I think we got Sammy McGuire, like you said. We got Lance Armstrong. I think was the other one, Bruce Lee. I think too, right? That could be could be sneaky interesting. Like I don't know, like that could be pretty good. I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Zach. I'm kind of sad that it's done, and I don't know. This is the best piece of nostalgia of recent memory at the very least. So,
absolutely, Pigoy, are you holding up, man? Have you dried all your tears?
Yeah, it's just like our Sunday nights from 8 to 10 were like we're on the couch watching The Last Dance, and now it's just like what are we gonna do? So it's tough, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that they didn't show any of the Wizards shit because I was so happy. That's not how Jordan's career ended. Like it was, but it's not too. Like you don't think of Michael Jordan and go, yeah, he played for the Wizards. He played for the Bulls for 14 years. Like that's what he did. So I'm glad they didn't show any of the Wizards stuff. I thought it was really good, really well put together, and it was just and like Boomy, you and I, we don't remember any of that stuff. So it was really cool to get a look back into that and from the player's perspective and all that stuff too. So that was really fun to watch.
Definitely. And after Sinkers and Floaters, we will take a deep dive into our recap of the last week of The Last Dance. But before we get there, let's start off as we always do with Sinkers and Floaters. I'll start off with my sinker, and that is mice. I actually just this weekend caught
a for life sinker.
See,
Definitely.
really don't have a problem with mice. They've never been snakes. Snakes is a
I have a
different
problem with
story.
you now.
Oh,
I mean-
yeah. Speaking of that, my uncle had a picture on Facebook the other day, and in his mouse trap, he had a snake in
Oh,
his
God.
mouse trap
Oh.
in his basement.
Ugh.
Sell the
Oh, I
house.
saw this. I saw
leave
this.
the
Ugh.
keys.
Burn it down.
Leave
Not
the
sell it.
keys.
Burn it. You
Yeah,
can't do that to
burn
another
it.
buyer. You can't do that
The
to a new
house
person.
belongs to the snakes now. Because,
Yeah, they
and
win.
I mean, it wasn't like a tiny snake either. I mean, it was a pretty decently sized
What is
snake.
with animals in lately? I got the bird situation that's not going away. I can tell you that right now.
No.
That is
Oh,
nowhere
shit.
near over. It's not going to be
Yeah.
my sinker tonight, but you got mice. We got, I don't know, man. The animals are taking over.
Yes,
Sorry
they are.
to cut you off, Boomy, but
No
you
worries.
got
And
me
Matt,
going.
this gets even worse because I had a mouse living in my car.
No.
I
No.
Not a
was
small
finding
one. Not a small one.
not a small one. And so
there's gotta
I
be a
found
clip
it-
you could drive that off of.
God, dude.
I found last Monday. I vacuumed up like a big chunk, and I was at at the local place, the
Jesus.
car wash, and I'm vacuuming and gets clogged up, and I pull it out, and I'm like, this is definitely a mouse's nest under
Oh,
the seats.
I
And
would sell the
so-
car. Sorry.
dude,
drive
and
it
so
off a cliff.
in there, and there's two chapstick tubes, like full things of chapstick that were in my like my cup holders that he came in night, took my chapsticks, took them all the way
Try it
under
out.
the seat of the car and was building them as part of his nest. So I started putting traps in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, and he would eat the peanut butter off the traps, but they wouldn't go off. And like they were still fully loaded, but no peanut butter on it. So finally I took the back seats out Friday night and I set 4 more traps. And 3 of the traps when I woke up Saturday morning had all the peanut butter eaten off it and hadn't gone off. Then the 4th one was the fattest mouse inside of the trap I've ever seen. And not to even mention that, Friday night, before all this happened, I was up at Zach's house and I had set the traps like on my driveway, so I put them in my car when I got home. One of the traps caught a mouse while it was sitting in my driveway.
That's
What?
crazy.
Yeah, and then
What?
like a day before that on Thursday, a mouse had somehow gotten in my garage and was dead in my dog's drinking water bowl. So
Oh my!
yeah,
They're taking over, dude.
oh,
Well,
I'm
you know,
playing
like,
a good fight out here.
If you're Matt, like at least you can kind of like see the birds that are kind of fucking with you,
They're
but like
shitting all over my house.
they leave a track, but like the mice are just kind of they're nocturnal, so they just kind of come in when you're
Oh.
sleeping,
God.
and you're not there, and
It's
just
been a
piss you off.
battle. And now
That
I'm back.
might not be mice. That might be rats, dude.
Dude, and that's what I thought. Like, if he's carrying full
Oh my
chapstick tubes across my car in his mouth, like, what are we dealing with here?
They should be smoking a cigarette next week.
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
my
like,
God, imagine that.
Smoking
Fucking-
heaters in your driveway.
That rat's gonna own your fucking car.
but I
You're
got
done.
Own
it.
your car.
I got it
done.
now, so hopefully
You
that's
think?
You
the
might,
last.
you,
That's
might,
what you
you
think.
might as well pour 2 glasses of scotch and pull up next to one because you're gonna
Yeah.
fucking you and the rat are gonna be drinking scotch together.
Yeah, it's getting out of hand. And last summer, Zach can attest to this. I'm 99% sure I had a dead mouse somewhere in my engine because my car smelled like a dead mouse for like 2 months last summer.
Now
Unbelievable.
it makes
And
a lot of
not
sense.
the house DJ dead mouse.
No.
No.
Let's get over. I'm done talking about the mice. Yeah. My sinker is anyone who worked on their summer bods. If you worked on a summer bod and you were ready to go out, whatever, and like especially if you live around here, I mean, half your summer is going to be cut in half you're going to be working out. You've worked out for no reason. People like me who have kept it, not working out, not cared. Guess what? We're rolling with this. We like
Your
not
time to
being able to
shine,
go
baby.
out. Yeah, this is my time to shine. So
We're
I
drawing
think that
aces tonight, Zach.
if you had worked on a summer bod and like whatever, sorry.
I don't have a
Loser.
summer bod. I just have a less fat version of myself, like just
Well, that's
slightly
just
less.
see,
fat.
that's just you wanting to be healthy.
That's just your
Yeah.
soul just dripping away off your body. Then
That
You're
is-
not going to the
Today I
beach,
ruined
dude.
it because I had pizza for breakfast, McDonald's for lunch, and I had a bunt cake for dinner. So
And that's the soul slowly getting its way
Right.
back into your
I
body.
rewarded myself because I caught mice, and then
Mouse. You caught
finally
mouse.
shot some of the ground squirrels that are terrorizing my yard. I've been on a killing spree lately, so I rewarded myself.
Fucking
You-
hacksaw
you-
Boomy over there.
You gave up a day of
I just wake
eating,
up
like,
and just start dressing
whatever
like
you
Rambo to go kill mice and
What
ground
am I gonna
squirrels.
fucking kill today?
Jeez Louise, what quarantine will do to you?
Oh, it's a scary place over here at the house.
Matt, what's your sinker?
Well, I'm gonna tonight's gonna be an interesting night because you guys are gonna get a little witness into the scopes of my brain, and my brain goes like really dumb at a lot of times, and I try to be a little bit more thoughtful and intelligent at other times. Well, my sinker tonight is, it's the bad side. We'll just say it's the dumb side of myself, and I'm gonna open up and admit to something completely stupid and moronic that I did.
This is a
Being that
trust-
we have a child, as we all know, yeah, it's the trust tree.
Trust
I
tree.
get
No-
that.
nobody's
Thanks,
listening.
Pigo. I appreciate it. We got
No one's listening.
having a toddler. We got a one of those iPad mounts sent to that we ordered online to put in the car. So 'cause he likes to go for a drive and throw some on the iPad for him, whatever. Hold it up for him so he can watch it. Keeps him quiet and everything. So anyway, I go and I get this thing installed in the car, get it set up, and I'm like, it even shrinks down enough that you can just put your regular iPhone. You don't even need an iPad or anything. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, why will this thing not open up wide enough? It won't go wide enough that I can't go into landscape mode. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Well, the mount is on a little ball hinge, so all you got to do is fucking twist it, and you can go into landscape mode then. So it took me about 10 minutes to realize that before I almost sent the thing back. So that was not my finest moment. I had no substance of any kind in my body at that point, so it was completely no alcohol at all. Just completely brain dead sober at the moment, and
Just motherfucker.
I just felt like I had to share my stupidity with people that could embrace it.
I've definitely been there before. Like, you just like, this cannot be. How does this work? And then you're like, finally figure it out. You're like, knew that the whole time.
It's no more difficult to figure out than a light switch, Zach. This situation here, all you do is you literally twist it. Like you rotate it, and it's
and I can just hear
mode.
some of the words you may have said to this thing. While
There
you
was a couple that if my garage
it didn't deserve.
Yeah,
it didn't deserve it.
And I think it's shortly before that I got the email of, "Hey, rate this product," because it showed up in the mail. It showed up. It sat in our garage for like 4 days, and I've never rated a product on Amazon at all. And I've never been more close to rating a product in that 10-minute window before I figured that out.
Imagine you give it a 0, you have to go back. Like, I'm sorry, this actually works.
Yeah, I'll be that fucking loser at an Amazon review that has the edited review. Yeah, I was totally wrong. Ah.
Sorry.
No, nobody does that.
5-star.
All right. Well, aside from like rodent and household problems, my sinker is Major League Baseball, and I know that we are all really wanting to have sports and especially baseball back, but like these guys can't get out of their own fucking way. Like, it's just every week they just have a different proposal or a different
That's a great
revision.
way to put it.
They have a different revision to what they want to do.
Yeah,
and
they
they'll
start off
put
with
it
78, 82
Yeah.
games. Like, just so many different versions of it.
Right. So they'll put the proposal out, and then they'll have someone who's much smarter than they are poke a bunch of holes in it and be like, well, yeah, we can't do that. It's like, well, no shit. So just sit down and be quiet for 2 weeks and then really figure out a plausible way to do something that will give us baseball. But what you're doing is you're just putting out this, weekly shitty idea that's going to get torn down in 4 seconds. And it's like, well, what are we going to do now? So, I mean, baseball needs to stay out of its own way for a while because, you get the players poking holes in it, you get the fans poking holes in it, you get a bunch of guys poking holes in it. It's like, just settle down, figure something out, and let's go from there.
Definitely.
Yeah,
it seems like every day there's a new proposal.
Yeah, it
And
seems
what
like
someone looking for?
seems like they're working through the media more than anything. Like they don't talk to each other until they hear it from the other side. Like the owners don't know what the players want. The players don't know what the owners like. It's getting to be very annoying. I want baseball.
Plus, thing it's a huge union thing too, which is like a humongous block in the road for sure. So.
Because yes, it's nice. We had NASCAR back this weekend. It's like
golf,
golf
to
have, but it's just
racing
like
tracks.
It's like I just want my baseball. I want the Cubs. I want to watch the Cubs.
I want one of my core sports. Give me one of the.
Yeah.
Give me one of the 4-back. It's
When
great,
is
like you said, NASCAR, golf, all that other stuff. I need one of the big ones back.
Yeah.
When is the Tom Brady thing and Peyton Manning and Phil?
I think it's this week.
Yeah,
it's
this Sunday.
Who do you guys think would? Is it Tiger and Tom Brady?
Tiger and Peyton.
Okay, because I couldn't remember who. That's gonna be. I wonder how that'll be, because I don't know.
I could see Tiger and Peyton like kind of giving each other a lot of shit back and forth.
Yeah,
not a whole lot of like personality there. Not a whole lot of like.
I think it's subdued personality. I think it's
like
a lot
Peyton
of guys
Manning
that
and Phil have definitely the most, for sure.
Yeah, probably.
Phil's kind of shown in his social media presence that he's got some sort of a personality, and Peyton Manning in the commercials.
Tiger on a golf course though does have a little bit more of an edge to him.
Yeah, it always just depends on what he'll let you hear though, and what they'll let you hear. You always know it's there. It's like even with the Michael Jordan stuff, you always know it's there. Definitely. But it's if they let you know what's going on. Sorry, Boomy. Want to get into floaters here.
I just realized that my floater actually has a little bit to do with mice, kind of like my sinker, but a different type of. And that's Chuck E. Cheese restaurant, and that is because they are changing their name on delivery apps like Uber Eats and Grubhub and Postmates and things like that to Pasquale's Pizza and Wings. So in order to get adults to not think that they're ordering Chuck E. Cheese pizza, they're ordering Pasquale's. And I think there's a tie. There's something in the name, Pasquale's. But yeah, they're going on these apps and changing their name so they can keep their business afloat. So good for them, trying to find a way around of not like if it, like we were sitting around, Zach, on Friday night, we're like, oh, let's get a pizza. We're probably not going to bring up Chuck E. Cheese. But if you're going through your app and you see Pasquale's Pizza and Wings, you might think twice about it, So good for them. That's kind of being very creative. I really like that story. And unfortunately, I have obviously mice on my mind because now I have Chuck E. Cheese and
now you have a rat that sells pizza.
Yeah, exactly. So
what happens when you get the pizza and you're like, dang, it's a Chuck E. Cheese pizza?
Yeah, I mean, if it says it on the box, I mean, you might not even know.
I guess I don't know. My floater. What?
If someone put a Chuck E. Cheese pizza down in front of me without the top, I probably wouldn't know it. Chuck E. Cheese pizza. I was like 6 years old.
You have no taste. You have no taste. You have no.
Gross.
You don't know good pizza.
Stop with your nonsense.
Okay. My floater is anyone that got like old vintage like gear, like Bulls gear or something. Because with watching these last episodes, it's like, dude, this is like there's some cool hats, some cool T-shirts from back in the day. Like, and I feel like you see people wanting to go get those now. For some reason you have those and you were able to sell those, like you're gonna be able to make some money on that stuff right now.
Oh yeah, I saw a big thread on Twitter about like bringing back the '90s warm-ups and how sick some of those. Like obviously, cool, but like. Look at the Jazz, the Sonics, the Magic, like that kind of stuff needs to make a comeback. And if you're sitting on a pile of it, like stuff you hoarded back in the 90s, you're just going to roll in it right now. Like everything I've seen on like Facebook Marketplace and these, resale apps that I kind of peruse around for different collectibles and jerseys and stuff, like everything has definitely gone up in price when it comes to Bull stuff since this all started.
No, yeah, 100%. And it's one of those things you forget how cool that kind of stuff was.
Oh yeah.
But now it's so hard to find. Like you said, if you for some reason have them, maybe you can make some money, or you're just gonna be able to flaunt that you have them. Because like I would love to have like some of those old school warm ups for like the bowls or something. Like
Yeah.
those were cool. The old school like the 3-peat shirts, all those kind of shirts, just awesome.
Absolutely. Maddie, what is your floater this week? I can't wait for this after your sinker.
Yeah, let's
well,
hear it.
as you can see, my brain is going the other direction here now, and I'm all for putting, especially now in the world we're in, is putting energy into mindless things to distract yourself from all the world's bullshit. And the internet is just hitting home run after home run after home run right now with mindless entertainment. I think it was on Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday. When I saw this on Twitter, I sent it to you guys immediately. And there was a Reddit user, Jaguar Gator 9 was the name. I figured I at least owe him his dibs on his name there because it was a pretty cool thing he did.
But definitely
He set up a red zone matchup for the early setting games from week 2 of the NFL season from 1988. So it was a straight up live broadcast that he did on Sunday of all the games, just like Red Zone does it for that noon set. So it would switch from, the Packers and Bucks were playing against each other. We had the Bears and Colts playing in the Hoosier Dome. Jim McMahon was throwing darts to Dennis Gentry. Dolphins and Bills played in Jim Kelly versus Dan Marino. So there were some good matchups. It was so cool just to kind of like go back, watch those old games. The footage was very grainy to say the least, but the guy did a great job of like going, all right, we're taking you to the game. Yep, the Colts are in the red zone here now, so switch to that one. He'd have split screens going there for a little bit, exactly just like how Red Zone would do it. And so I thought that was really cool. One other thing tonight too, and I know we talk about but what Big Cat does a lot with the coach Doug stuff. But tonight, Iowa State's football coach Matt Campbell tweeted out a GIF handshaking with Coach Doug's after the game tonight because it was like Texas Tech played Iowa State, Matt Campbell's school. So thought that was awesome. It's so cool to see some programs and coaches engaging in that stuff and not being such like uptight and just put back away from all that stuff. So embrace it, have fun with it. The intentions are good. He's not, Big Cat's not out trying to embarrass people with this. So it's like, just have fun with it, embrace it. And it's cool to see these programs doing it. So that kind of stuff where it's just like, hey, we got to entertain ourselves somehow. We can't go anywhere yet. We, kind of just confined to entertaining ourselves somehow. So that kind of stuff's really cool to me.
The internet remains undefeated.
Yeah, it's really good, man. It's really good.
I've been following, and I think I've mentioned on here, I've been following hardcore that guy that did the simulated season on college basketball 2K8. And he's it's incredible. He's in like year 10 or whatever at Western Illinois. It's really cool stuff. That's awesome. Like something I like look for, and I Google every couple of days to see if there's a new article. So definitely I understand you on that. Pigoy, I know you got a floater for us tonight.
Yeah, my floater is live sports. I mean, we had a very limited amount of them this weekend, but we had NASCAR return, we had golf return. There was a couple bigger horse tracks opened up, mainly Churchill Downs and Santa Anita. So we had we're kind of phasing ourselves back in as limited as it may be, but live sports are coming back. Oh, and we had the German soccer league.
Yep.
Which I bet on too. So I mean, it was we're starting to get some live sports back here, just very slowly but surely, and let's hope we can kind of baby step our way back into this whole thing.
Absolutely, and we will get into that in our segment on the return of sports. But for now, we are combining our weekly The Last Dance recap, and we're going to jump right into that. Like we said just last night from when we are recording this, was week 5, episodes 9 and 10, the finale of The Last Dance. So let's jump into it. Our favorite moments. Does anybody want to start?
Matt, I'll let you go. Matt.
I had a couple, and mine were kind of like brief little snippets. So I'll hit them quick. Michael talking about, he goes, "I ain't Shaq," when he was talking about O'Neal. Yep. They're talking about, the physical toll that, that the Jazz laid on teams with, the Lakers, the Western Conference Finals. He banged with Shaq and they shut him down. Well, I ain't Shaq. It tells you right there, Michael, no one's off limits. Even the greats, the other greats are still within his sight line. I remember the 54-point game when they allowed 54 points in the NBA Finals. That game,
insane.
That was insane, dude. It was an absolute just picture-perfect defensive performance from start to finish. And the Jazz, a lot of it, too, is they went ice cold. You can't just shut down another good NBA team solely like that. They've got to do some of it their own. But people forget how great defensively those Bulls teams were, too. It's not just
any of those teams were like the scoring 80s and low 90s and low 70s. Like you don't see that anymore.
Over 100.
10-point games. 10-point games were blowouts at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when you're up 12, 15 points on a team, it's over. Those games were done. So that kind of thing. Rodman sneaking out of gate 3.5 at the United Center was fantastic.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
That was awesome.
You know, I thought that was really cool how they showed that they had the footage of that sneaking away from the media and getting out of that side gate that we all know where it's at. The coolest thing though, real quick too, was Michael. The fact that he was just okay not going out, or he was okay not going out with the picture perfect storyline. He wanted to make someone take it from him. And you know, a lot of other athletes say, "Oh, go out on top, go out on top." He didn't give a shit about that. He wanted to make somebody prove he wasn't the best.
Yeah,
and he had that chance ripped away from him. And the last little quote that when he talked about when he was drafted by the Bulls, and they were a fledgling organization, they had nothing going for him. He said something along the lines of, "All it takes is one little match to start the whole fire." And that comment was just like it's exactly what it was when he was drafted at that team, that organization. It started a fire for years to come for that city with NBA basketball, just basketball in general. The Bulls organization, they owned not only the city but obviously a good chunk of the world, man. And that's all it took was one guy going there, and it started the whole thing.
Dude, he was like the biggest person on the planet from 1991 to 98. I mean, it was insane how big he was.
I was listening to something today. They're like, well, some people ask, oh, why didn't Michael go hang out with his teammates, whatever? Because if you wanted to go out to eat with Michael Jordan, like you had to call ahead, you had to get police. Like he wasn't like any person. Like even now, he's not like any type of person. Like the type of celebrity he is like not even thought of anymore because like there's so many people kind of like that now.
Yeah, it's such a different world.
Yeah, because of social media now, like your celebrities are so like accessible in a way.
Yeah,
like and for when that, it's like whenever you saw Michael Jordan, it was like, oh my gosh, look at that. And it's one of those things. That's why I feel like he is kind of why he has gotten to be so private is because it was so crazy when he was going in that. My favorite moment was when he finally won that last championship, and it was like you got to see the real personality in him, like the fun side of him. Like you got to see his competitive side throughout it. Like you got to see how he like won with his team. Like he like got his teammates to be this whatever great, but at the end of it you finally got to see like how fun he could be and the personality that he had and the jokester that he was, and like he was just trying to have fun. And yes, he wanted to win basketball, but he was also like, and also the way that they did the whole like he can live in the moment, like when he was having fun and like right at the start of the NBA championship in '98, like he didn't care about anything other than the moment. Like he could, like like they said, he was pretending, he was making it seem like the game one of the NBA championship was like a preseason game, the way he had the headphones and he was just like having fun. Like he always was just in the moment. And I think that's also what makes him great, is like he never looked forward, never looked back. He was always in the moment.
Definitely.
Great point. Yeah, it's a great point.
Couldn't agree more. My favorite moment, and it's one of my all-time favorite sports moments. It's something that also, like, as a personal connection, my dad being a basketball coach has always talked about it, and that's the last shot and the breakdown of it and the different camera angles. That just was everything for me. You know, my dad when he would do camps and stuff and teach us form, he always talks about Mike holding that shot, you know, flicking the wrist, and he goes into that when he was, you know, sitting there, like Zach had said, talking about, you know, flicking his wrist, and then all the camera angles of all the people in the background. And that was definitely my favorite part, just panning every little tiny bit of that, of the most iconic shot in basketball history. So
That was last week. What I said I was looking forward to the most was hearing him go into that whole scenario, the whole the three play stretch that was. It was so incredible. And like you said, there was I think ESPN too. They released that same game with the HD footage or with advanced camera footage. I saw some of that last night. That was insane. Like that watching that game with HD after watching it on the documentary. Holy crap! It gives you a whole new perspective on that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially like watching the Jazz fans' faces.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
There
was one kid. One kid was in a Bulls
the Bulls
jersey.
jersey.
His dad's like this. The kid's arms are up in the air. It's like, oh man, it's awesome.
That was awesome.
That kid knew it before everybody.
Jordan did not push off either. Like that, it
No,
did look
confirmed.
like his momentum was going that way.
He guided him.
And also, could I go in the flu game stuff? Like he just says it's not a flu game, and like didn't he sell shoes that were called the flu game shoes?
Game 12. Those are my favorite.
Like, he knew it wasn't the flu game, I guess, but he said that the food poisoning game doesn't sell.
Food poisoning game 12s doesn't roll off the tongue very well.
He's like I wasn't
Stomach
like
flu
actually
game.
have the flu. He's like I actually just like had food poisoning. It's like, well, what the heck?
Yeah. Pigoy, what was your favorite moment of episodes 9 and 10?
Well, aside from earlier where I said I liked that I didn't mention any of the wizard stuff. Like, I think what was kind of cool was how Phil Jackson had all the guys, write down, a certain memory from, the run and put it in a coffee can and he burned it, signaling the end of this whole thing. So I thought that was, it was really sad, but it was also like, holy shit, like, it's at least the coach and everybody else knew what was going on. And he's like, okay, if we're going to end it, let's end it on our terms. And I thought that was pretty cool. So
I would love to know what Michael Jordan's poem was.
Yes.
I would love to know. That'd be awesome to know what that was. It was just like, what could he have said?
So that was pretty cool for sure.
Let's jump into our most surprising moment. And I'll start because this was kind of already mentioned. I had two things written down that Zach and Matt had already both brought up. Dennis Rodman leaving. And I remember that Dennis Rodman being a wrestler. But that was, I kind of forgot how, big that was. And then even Zach saying how they or Matt said they ushered him out of door 3.5. Like that stuff is not, I could imagine if I guess the equivalent would be like the third best player on, the Warriors a couple years ago, like jumping, practice to go to be a wrestler. Like that stuff is
I completely forgot that happened too. Like I did not remember that happened during the NBA Finals. I remember him going and being a part of NWO, but I did not remember that being a part of during the NBA Finals.
Yo, that's just nuts, man. What a character. And then my other one I had, like Zach said, that it wasn't a push off because anyone that's a Bulls fan that has ever talked about that to someone that's not a Bulls fan or wasn't a Michael Jordan fan, oh, well, Mike pushed off. And when you saw that camera angle from the sideline, you're like, no, he definitely didn't push off. Like,
what about Reggie Miller's shove off?
Oh, I still to this day, and I talked about it last week. I hate Reggie Miller. I hate everything he is. I hate who he is as a person. I just hate Reggie Miller. And like when he threw Michael Jordan up, like I got visibly angry watching it. I'm like, that's a foul. Like I was so mad at that. I still hate Reggie Miller.
He wanted so bad to be Jordan. He wanted so bad.
He's a punch.
Well, he wanted to retire him too, which is like he even said, he goes, "I'm going to be the guy that retires Michael Jordan." And like, well, buddy, you didn't have a fucking chance. So just
My own surprising moment was when Scottie Pippen did say that he thought Jerry Krause was the greatest general manager of all time.
Yeah.
Not saying he's not wrong.
Good point.
But I was surprised. I'm
Why
like,
did he say
wow,
that?
like you didn't seem like you thought that in the moment. And I understand everyone gets to look back, but like he had already could have fixed the 1.8 second thing. He didn't fix that. He kind of said he doubled down on that. And right at the end, he kind of pulls out that he's like, I played with the greatest player, the greatest coach, and the greatest general manager. And I was just kind of surprised that he ended up saying that after all like the kind of vibe he was giving off.
Definitely very surprised.
I agree.
Maddie, what's your most surprising?
Most surprising was I got to go back. It was the Rodman situation. The fact that happened during the NBA Finals is just mind blowing to me. And
it's crazy, just everything with him. Like he went to Vegas for 48 hours in the midst of like the biggest season in one of the NBA history. Like
the one thing about that, thing about that too is it tells you how damn important he was to that team because they wouldn't.
No,
nobody could put up with that shit if it's nobody. If you're not doing it.
If it was Scott Burrell, he would have got cut the next day.
That's why, that's why you knew that Rodman was one of like, he's a Hall of Famer for a reason. Well, it's like he could go do all that crazy stuff, but when he was on the court, they trusted him to go out and win games.
Too, is he never took a play off when he was on the floor, so his max effort. It didn't matter if he was on a coke bender or 2 nights or 2 hours of sleep in the last week. He's still going, full bore when he's on the floor. They weren't missing a beat. They weren't missing a step. He had that ability to just flip the switch when he's on the floor to shut everything off in his body, physically, mentally, whatever it may be. Focus on the floor for that 48 minutes and get the hell off and go have a hell of a time afterwards. He's a freak of nature in that regard.
He never wanted to disappoint people, and I think that's what the whole thing was. That started with
Chuck Daly, and it spoke to that in the earlier episodes. He was talking about he didn't want to let Chuck Daly down, and you could tell then that's where that seed's planted and stuff like that. And when you start having a loyalty to a guy who's sticking his neck out for you, when he started seeing that Phil Jackson was doing that for him, when he started seeing Jordan was doing it for him, he's like, shit, all right, I got to make sure I can still come through for these guys. So I think there's still that he knew inherently that those guys still had his back. Even when he did fuck up,
Exactly. Pigoy, surprising moment of episodes 9 and 10 last night.
I mean, it's probably got to be the kind of Steve Kerr deep dive.
That was good.
What happened with him, and I mean, it's a sad moment for sure. But I mean, I didn't know anything about that, and I saw kind of the reaction was that that was a pretty well kept secret, unless you understood who Steve Kerr was and all that stuff like that, but. For the guy who was watching, I'm like holy shit, man, that was pretty rough for Steve Kerr and understandably so. So that was my biggest surprise of the night for sure was Steve Kerr.
Great, that's a great point, Pigo. I saw a tweet about, and I don't know if it was Danny Parkins or somebody.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going with this.
I think talking about and you guys wonder why Steve Kerr talks about social activism and gun control. Yeah. He's got a point. His
makes a lot of fucking sense.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really, really interesting deep dive because he's one of those guys that kind of gets left by the wayside when you talk about, the 90s Bulls. Just on the surface, but obviously he played such a major role in his backstory. It doesn't get talked about quite enough. Let's jump into our favorite person of episodes 9 and 10. I'm going to keep this very simple, and this is such a basic-ass answer, but it was Michael Jordan. I mean, just look at
I can't stand you. I can't believe you did that to me. That's who I was going to take.
I'm sorry. I thought
it can be both of yours.
It's so basic, but just to see how his brain works, and as someone who coaches and someone who tries to learn new things, it was just so you can't teach the things that he would do in the way his mentality was, and playing with food poisoning and playing as well as he did, and just everything, the insight he was willing to give for 10 episodes. Yeah, it took 22 years, but it's better late than never. And I just thought he did a wonderful job in all of his interviews. I felt like he was very open and honest and, touched on he talked about his dad getting murdered and his gambling. He didn't hold anything back, which is one of the things I was a little worried about when they said that he had final cut. But hats off to Mike. That was there's very few words to describe it. It was one of the best documentary series I've ever seen.
Totally agree, and I just had to give you a hard time because I thought I was going to get a sneaky one there with just going right to the default answer. But real quick, I just want to throw out on Jordan. I thought that again, the fact that he wanted to make someone take the title away from him, he wanted to make somebody come rip the ring away from him. That just tells you right there how much he, what he was made of inside. And shout out to Pigoy. Back to your point on Steve Kerr. That was such a great story, and the fact how he had that kind of the unspeakable bond with Jordan, with their relationships with their dad, the way their dads both passed away, how it was just sudden, both taken from them,
too.
you know. And no, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, it makes sense. Like, you know, and they asked him like, did you ever discuss your, you know, your fathers or whatever? And then like, no, we didn't talk about that much. But you understood as you're watching it, like, yeah, I wouldn't want to talk about that with him either, you know.
Right, but they knew. It's like they knew.
Yeah, they knew
Right, that's
that there was something
Yeah.
there, but they didn't want to talk about it because it was very emotional for the both of them.
Right. That's what
How
I'm
about that
saying.
exchange with Larry Bird too at the end
Oh.
of Game 7?
Fuck you, you bitch.
Bitch, the bitch, fuck you.
That was good.
I tell you, you see the mutual respect that Jordan had for the elite. Like, he never ripped on Bird. He never ripped on Magic Johnson. He never ripped on Julius Erving. Those guys were the ones that, like, he took that mantle from, and he never forgot that they were in that same category as him in terms of, you know, running the league and owning the league and being the focal point of the league. So I think keeping that in mind is like, it's like the elite of the elite have that bond together where it's like, yeah, we have a mutual respect that nobody else in the world's ever going to understand.
Right. Like, you can't go up to Jordan and be like, fuck you, you know,
Right.
unless you have
Larry
the
Bird
respect.
can.
Yeah.
You
Larry
can't
Bird
be
can, but
Brian Scott and trying to pull that.
Yeah,
Or
and like
Brian
Jordan
Russell.
can say, go work on your golf game. You know, like,
Yeah.
I mean,
you just chirps him out the door too, like, hey, work on your
it's
golf game,
just-
buddy. We'll see you
Well, like,
later.
even you go back to like the stories about Bird, like he'd walk in a 3-point contest and say, who's finishing second?
Yeah.
Like, it's something as unimportant as a 3-point contest. He walks in and says, who's finishing second? Walks right back out.
Just
You know,
a
like,
dog.
those are the mentality. Those are just dogs, man.
My favorite character has got to be Gus, the security guard.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jordan's pretty much best friend throughout his his stay in Chicago. They kind of became friends when he broke his foot in like the second year he was with the Bulls. And he said he kind of became his father figure after his father passed away. And it was just like, it's just the bond that they had and the way that it seemed like in Game 7 against the Pacers, kind of his presence being there kind of gave one of those things. Jordan always needs something to play for, and with him being there was something for him to play for. And it was just kind of a cool to see the relationship that he had. Like, you don't really see a lot of relationships with Michael Jordan because, like they were saying on the radio today, even like players in the league right now and stuff like that, you don't know that they're friends with Michael Jordan because he likes to keep everything private. And if he can't trust you to keep something private, like, he's not going to be friends with you in the first place. So, like, he could be, like you said, you didn't know about with his relationship with the in depth how it went with Kobe until Kobe passed away, because he just likes to keep everything so private. So it was cool to see like the way that he talked about him and how he said he talked about him with everything. It's just cool to see him open up about somebody that was so special to him.
Yeah, and like they talked about him, you know, helping him, like noticing that he was sick on the road and let his wife know to go get, you know, him checked out.
He's got to go to the doctor now. Like this, he cared.
chemo
He
and
cared.
stuff. But he didn't want any of that publicized. Like, imagine
No,
like
never.
that you would get on like you know, the Chicago Sun Times of like a pot or a, you know, a fluff piece, you know, Michael Jordan's, you know, helping out his security guard with his chemo and stuff like that. But like, that wasn't what it was about, and that was really cool to see that relationship.
You could never say about Michael Jordan that he ever did anything for the media. He never tried to.
Yeah.
He never was doing anything for the media. The media was just there when he was doing amazing things.
Right. Like, he didn't care if he was talked about or not. It was just, you know.
Especially now with there's so much social media now, and I mean, you see nothing. There's nothing. He does nothing on social media, nothing like that.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I kind of brought it up in my most surprising moment, but I think my favorite person was probably Phil Jackson, is the way to how he ended all of the stuff. But I also liked the part when they're talking about it was the '98 finals, and they pan to, like, you know, Pippen, Rodman, Kerr, and they go, who's taking the last shot? And then Rodman goes, fuck, I ain't taking that fucking ball. That's Jordan's ball.
Even Scottie Pippen's like, I'm getting out of the way. I'm getting out of the way.
I'm getting out of the way. And Pippen's like, oh, that's Mike's shot, man. That's Mike's shot. And like, I just liked how like they did that quick wraparound where it's like everybody knew there was only one person in the entire world who was touching that basketball, and it was Jordan. and he
Bro, if
makes
you
a shot.
watch it, I didn't know if Dennis Rodman was going to come down the court. It felt like he was just going to stay at the other end and say, screw it. Like,
You're
It's
right.
just
he literally walked
you
down
watch
the
him
court
talk
with
about it,
hands
he's
on
like,
his hip.
yeah, I'm not touching that ball.
He's
Why waste my energy?
Yeah, why
Yeah,
do I need to go down
exactly.
the court?
He's probably out till
Exactly.
2 in the morning with Carmen Electra. You don't want to waste any more energy than
Save
you
it,
need to.
save it for defense, man.
Can you blame him? Pigoy, can you blame
Yeah, I
him?
was going to say.
My goodness.
How about
He
our
is
least
crazy.
favorite person of episodes 9 and 10?
All right,
I think we're gonna all have a
boys.
mutual answer. I think on this one.
Jerry Reinsdorf, dude.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
I got
Let's all just tee off on him. Let's
pay.
go.
I can't pay. Steve Kerr made $1.8 million. You're saying he wouldn't sign a 1-year contract? Michael Jordan wanted to sign a 1-year contract. He would have. I bet you, with the way he was talking, he would have at least taken some sort of pay cut to get Scottie Pippen to come back. Rodman would have been maybe a little hard to get back, and he was also getting a little older too. But I feel like you could have built a team, even if it wasn't that exact team. You could have gone out and got some veterans and stuff to build a team around Michael Jordan to win a 7th championship. Let it end by someone beating them. Don't let it end by you saying that you don't have enough money. Like, give me a break, dude.
Yeah, it's funny how it started off that Jerry Krause was like the villain, and then it ended with Reinsdorf being the villain.
Well, because you got to realize, like, as you win, I think people started to realize, like, okay, yes, whatever Jerry Krause did was approved by Jerry Reinsdorf. Like, Jerry Reinsdorf was.
And also,
a
it makes
part
you
of
think,
everything.
like, was Jerry Krause just doing what he was told by Jerry Reinsdorf?
I think they all had their own part.
How
Like,
did that relation-
he also had a part in it too, or whatever. But like
He
you said,
had an
you can't just
admittedly large
pretend like
ego too.
yeah, you can't
Yeah.
just pretend like Jerry Reinsdorf had nothing to do with it. Like, you even look at the White Sox now. Like, they're just like, you won a championship in 2005, and then you just don't capitalize off it. You don't keep. I mean, you just don't.
Yeah.
It just seems like he just loves like to be meaty. I don't know. Like, he doesn't
had
want.
a couple years ago about it. The best thing to do is finish in second place. Like, that's such a
like,
thing to say.
Just,
I had a couple other least favorite people, and one of them was the blonde white lady behind the Bulls bench yelling,
Oh, the Karen.
God damn you." She's the precursor to the lady that flipped Joakim Noah off. And then also, my other one was Karl Malone. I never liked Karl Malone, and then after doing some research last night, I found out Karl Malone's a pretty horrible human being.
He's a dirtbag.
He goes taken. He is just a turd in the punch bowl. So he is now like number 2 behind Reggie Miller in my I hate you list.
He also tried to say I heard an interview today. He said he wasn't asked, but then they have also said that he denied it. So, like, I don't know why he would lie about that.
He's a very dislikable person.
Yeah, horse's ass. Now let's jump into any complaints we have, and this can be about episodes 9 and 10 or the whole thing in general. Does anybody have any complaints? I know it's hard to look at it.
Only 10 episodes. My complaint is there's only 10
I'm going to go with that one too.
I was waiting for my Ashton Kutcher moment where he comes out of the bag. He's like, "Yeah, you've been punked. We've got 10 more episodes." Like, I was waiting for that, and it just never happened.
And it's also one of those things, like, people need to realize, yes, it was very centered around the Bulls, but that was a Michael Jordan documentary. Like, it was what his view of it was. So, like, yeah, it was going to be in his favor for most of it, yeah. But I think it was really well done. I mean, like I said, this is a complaint section, but I can't really throughout it, we can always have, like, we always have little complaints, but for an overall view of it, I mean, it was something that, like, it's just they put it together very well.
I have one other very small complaint, and that's someone who has a terrible attention span. And I think for the most part, understood the timeline. And but just all they had to do was, like, in the top right corner of the screen, just put what year they were in. You know,
because
like,
especially at the end of it, like when they played the Jazz in '97 and '98, like I was getting like, I know, like, there's spots where it says '97, '98, like in the background or whatever. Like,
seconds.
Yeah, I was kind of very confused.
In the top right corner, tell me what you like. Don't even have to say, like, if it's the Eastern Conference Finals, the NBA Finals, whatever the case is. Just put the year in the top right corner. That's all I wanted to see. Anybody else? Any other complaints?
I don't really have any. I mean, everything you guys have said is valid. Like, you know, I can't say anything that anybody here has said is a ridiculous take as far as, you know, complaint. it did everything for me. It hit the nostalgia, it hit the emotional side, it hit like I learned a couple things, saw some things that jogged my memory again too. So I can't really I won't say it was a perfect documentary. It probably had some flaws, but I can't really complain about it. So no, I really don't.
Absolutely. It's hard to nitpick something so pivotal right now in the world we live in. Pigoy, any complaints?
No. I mean, you guys pretty much covered it all too. So that was cool. I like you said, like I heard that was pretty much the common complaint was like it seemed to bounce around a ton, where it was hard to keep up with. But I mean, if that's the worst complaint you have of the whole thing, it's like then it was a pretty damn good thing. Because I mean, a dip into Michael Jordan's competitiveness and his drive was just like incredible. So
I almost think too, it's like becoming almost trying to like a hot take to say something bad about it. People are like trying to like get their.
Well, yeah, if there's somebody that's always going to complain about something, like you said, especially at this time, like there's so many people. But I didn't understand, like, I don't know the numbers, like, exactly, but I didn't understand the viewership on that Game 6 against the Jazz. Like, that will never be done again.
No,
like, those numbers will never be done again.
Did you mention that streaming availability then too?
Oh my gosh! Like that's insane. That many people were watching. I said I can't remember the number. I heard it today on radio. Like the difference between like
3.5 million.
That's insane.
I'd love to know what the local number in Chicago was too.
No, for
everybody.
Sure.
Everybody,
every TV.
Like it's funny, like because that goes on how many televisions were tuned into that. Like, I know when I watched that game, I was at a graduation party for one of my dad's former students, and there was no joke, like 15 to 18 people sitting around that one, 32-inch TV. So it's kind of
about bars and stuff.
How many eyeballs saw it?
Yeah, that's the real question. You lost 16 viewers on that, on that rating total right there, Boomy.
Yeah. Exactly. And that was our TCF Week 5, and unfortunately the finale recap of The Last Dance. One of the best things that happened during this quarantine is the moving of that up, but that was the recap. If you haven't watched the videos yet of our first 4 weeks of the recaps, go ahead and back to the YouTube page, subscribe there, check those videos out. I've created a special playlist on there so you can watch those back to back. But let's jump into it, boys. We do have some sports returning. Like Pigoy mentioned earlier, we had NASCAR return this weekend. Darlington maybe is where the race was at, but they did not have fans. One of the racers was quoted in saying that it was a little weird, and obviously it's going to be if you're so used to that, but they're making do with it. And then also golf.
You're in a car, dude.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I thought. I was like, wait, shouldn't we be paying attention to the road?
I've been to a NASCAR race before and everything, and there's no way they even see the people. So come on, man.
They're going so fast; it's got to be a blur. But golf also came back. Pigoy, I know you watched it and had some money out. What was the golf event that happened this past weekend?
Yeah, so it was a 2-on-2 skins game. So basically, the lowest ball on a hole would win whatever the skin was for that hole. So like some holes were worth 50,000, some holes were worth 100,000. If the hole was tied, it would carry over to the next hole. So it was just a big money game to raise money for charity and all this stuff. So
very cool.
Yeah, it was Rory and Dustin Johnson. Rory being the number 1 player in the world against Ricky Fowler and Matthew Wolff. And Rory and Dustin Johnson ended up winning the skins match. So. But yeah, it was cool because like it was like they all had to carry their own bag. There was no caddies. There was very limited people filming the match and guys touching the pins and all this stuff like that. So it was just pretty cool to see the pros, walking with their own bag and just playing some good golf and.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of this, and we'll get into the possible return of baseball. And you kind of mentioned on it earlier, basketball. Last we had heard that they were looking for possibly like 6 cities to do the rest of their season. NHL has proposed a 24-team playoff. that they're kind of mulling around. But with all this, and like we've talked about, basically since the middle of March, like it's just the kind of hope that maybe there's something coming. And I want to get into this baseball. As Pigoy mentioned earlier, it seems like there's a new proposal every day. And whether you like him or not, I think Bryce Harper has a really decent proposal he posted to Instagram. Which would have been 3 days ago. So I think it was like Friday afternoon. But he had said 135 games, an off day every 2 weeks, like on a Monday or Sunday doubleheader, do 7 innings, 30 players, 6-man rotations, playoffs, a 2-week World Series. And then he said a 10-team round-robin format like the College World Series at the new Texas Stadium or any of the stadiums that are open. 3-game series. You win the series and you move on. You lose to play the other losers in a 1-game wild card that moves on. 2 teams left, 7-game World Series, and they get 2 days off before. And then with those 2 days off, you do an all-star home run derby kind of thing. I like that these guys are coming up with it. I know he's a little all over the place, but I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. I like the thought, but like you said at the beginning of the show, there's so many of these proposals that sometimes you get lost in like what's going on. Like, I want to play baseball, but like when everyone's throwing out proposals, I get a little confused. Not saying it's a good proposal. I think that's a great idea, but like at some point, it's like how many proposals can I even think about? Before, like I just needed somebody to say we will play baseball. Like that's all I need them to say right now. Like right. I've heard 80 games. I've heard next to 100. Was it 130?
135 is what Bryce proposed.
135
games. We've heard, the East Central West Division thing, and then we've heard the spring training thing, and now it's something different every day. But hopefully they can come to an agreement here sometime soon, because you got to feel like if they're going to start the season on July 1st, like we need to start getting some training things in place so these guys.
Let's just start being a little more quiet about stuff too. Let's just keep stuff under wraps before we like just throw things out that haven't even gotten close to coming true.
Definitely. Basketball. Last we had heard Adam Silver's hoping to have a final decision within 2 to 4 weeks.
Who knows?
Yeah. But I think at the very basis of this, and you guys can disagree with me, but like it does feel like we're inching closer to a return, which I think is a positive thing.
We're getting to the final stretch here. We're hoping.
Definitely. Anything else on the return of sports, fellas?
I just need a core 4. I need a core 4. Core 4 professional sports team.
Give me one of them. Give me one of them.
Zach, I'm getting lost in all the proposals. I can't keep track.
Well, now that we don't have to worry about, as of right now, we don't have to worry about sports. We can worry about all the food that we're consuming. Let's get into the TCF Local Food Spotlight, brought to you by our sponsor, Lodi Tap House. Make sure you check out their Facebook pages, whether you're near Maple Park or down here in the Illinois Valley by us in Utica. They have a page for each one. Make sure you head over to either one this week. Get yourself some delicious food. If you're going to the Maple Park location, get you a growler or a crowler full of beer. Thank you to Lodi Tap House. Does anybody want to start with the TCF Local Food Spotlight this week?
I'm going to start in, they've actually closed down, like, throughout the COVID stuff, without carryouts and stuff, and just they're a local bar. Riverfront Bar and Grill, they're down in, is that technically Peru?
That's a Peru address, yes.
I'm sorry, I get confused. I always say the wrong areas. And they're right there on the river. Like I said, riverfront. And they got a new patio throughout all this stuff. But like I said, they started doing carryouts about a month or so ago. But they had some flooding problems. Just want to say shout out to them. To support your local places, even places like that. Support them as much as you can, whatever you can do. Because like you said, they're right on the river there. I saw today some stories where they had like big cement blocks out trying just to hold the water back because there's been so much rain lately. But that is mine. She said they're not doing carryouts right now. They'll be back. They'll be back open here once everything starts to settle down. But just to help them out right now, just their time of need. Like you said, they're working on trying to just keep some water out of their new restaurant and all this other shit's going on too.
And just for some perspective, you can stand in front of riverfront, and if your arm is strong enough, you can throw a rock into the Illinois River. That's how close it is.
And it's starting to flood now.
Yes, exactly. So just for some perspective, and the restaurant that used to be in there flooded almost regular or annually. So hopefully all goes well for those guys. I've been down there a couple times. Really great bar, really great food.
Shout out Zach
great
Snow.
owners.
Zach Snow and his brother and dad and sister and all of them are working down there, and they said just support local businesses, like especially when you're going through the COVID stuff, and then you're going through that kind of shit too. Just be helpful.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that sucks for those guys because like they just had reopened too, or they just relaunched about Thanksgiving, and the new look they put on that place was really cool. So it's tough for those guys, but make sure you can help those guys out as much as you can.
Absolutely. My restaurant of choice this week is going to be Sicily Pizzeria in Mendota. Sicily's. I mean, it's a little bit. I mean, there's definitely places like if you want Pizza Hut, you're going to be cheap. If you want a good, pizza, and you're going to pay a little bit extra, but it's so Sicily Pizzeria.
What's the one they have? And you definitely I don't think you can do it now. Maybe you can do carry out with is it the wagon wheel?
Yeah.
The big giant pizza that they're famous for. And honestly, their favorite pizza of mine is their Euro pizza. It's obviously got lamb meat and onions and tomatoes. And I believe they put the tzatziki sauce on it. They are doing carryouts, and they have specials posted every day on their Facebook. So Sicily Pizza, it's worth every penny. I love it. It's a thinner crust. It's delicious. And I think they have more than just pizza too. I know they do pastas and stuff. Good. I went to school with the owner's kids, great people, and really, really delicious pizza. So get you a wagon wheel, get you a Euro pizza, hit them up on Facebook, Sicily Pizzeria.
Love it. Love it.
All right. I want to go. We've got pizzas covered. I've talked about some pizza places here. I know you guys obviously have. Boomy just hit another one. Sounds delicious. We know Lodi's our place for burgers. I'm gonna switch it up and go with some wings this week, though. And there's a place in Batavia. It's called Crosstown Pub, and they've also got another one in Naperville. Their wings are absolutely dynamite, and they're enormous. Like they're huge wings. They do them grilled. They do them breaded and fried. So you get them whatever way you want them. They have a boneless option as well, but I usually get the traditionals. All sorts of rubs, all sorts of sauces. They always have a great deal on Thursdays for half price wings. Even still through the pandemic, they do the carry out stuff. So, if you want wings, man, I don't know that you can find a better plate of wings in the area than those.
Very nice. If you don't like wings, I don't know what's wrong.
No, God. And then, like I said, even the dry rubs that they have, the sauces, you can get the same rubs and sauces on their fries too. So like, I always get I get a Cajun wing usually a lot. If I'm not feeling a Cajun wing, I'll get something else, but then get the Cajun seasoning on the fries, and their waffle fries are really good too. So, another place that get some great wings there, man.
Solid choice. Pigoy, what do you got for us this week?
I kind of tipped my hand pretty early this week in our group text, but I went with some sushi this week, and we did a little burger sushi house out in Ottawa. Just phenomenal sushi. We got we did a little spicy tuna roll. We did a little shrimp tempura roll. Got some crab rangoons.
Their crab rangoons
do some really good.
They
do like build your own mac and cheese, and I mean people who know about Bash know this, but the wife likes a little mac and cheese, so we got a little mac and cheese with some mushrooms and some fried onions on top of it, and it was
Hey, low-key, really good item on their menu that seems super weird. Their peanut butter and jelly burger is fire.
Oh yeah.
It sounds so weird, but it's literally a burger slider, butter and jelly, and it's insanely good.
Oh yeah, they got killer burgers, build your own mac and cheese, phenomenal sushi. So yeah, go ahead and give it a little, and they got beers to go.
Ooh, can never go wrong.
You can't beat that.
Had to get a couple beers to go for sure. So
right. Well, now that we have been talking about food in our TCF Weekly Food Spotlight, we got to jump into our TCF Top 3 tonight, and that's because that is the top 3 breakfast foods. Now, let's clarify some things here quickly, though, boys. Is this like a single item or like a skillet where it's multiple items?
I think
would
if you're gonna
say-
go with skillet, you got to go specific. So if you want
Okay.
Denver, you got to go with the Denver. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
All right, I can respect that. Pigoy, who gets to go first this week?
Let's go Zach, Chance, Matt, me.
All
I
right.
like it. I'm gonna go French toast. That's my favorite. I had it the other night. French toast. I'm going with French
Solid
toast.
choice.
Love it.
Solid.
You can't
solid
go wrong
1-1.
with French toast.
Franchise
You can't
player.
go wrong. Yep.
You can
So
build
I'm
a
going
franchise around French toast.
French toast. It
It's
doesn't need
very-
much. It doesn't
You
need
can
much
do
explaining.
variations of it too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's the thing. It's versatile as hell. Cream cheese, fruit. You can do stuffed
Yep.
French toast with the cream cheese.
Oh, yeah.
You can't go wrong. Sausage, bacon, all inside. It's a great way to go. Can't go wrong with it.
And I'm
Endless
probably going to
ideas.
lose this draft, but I'm going very specific to me. Chocolate chip pancakes. I don't care if it makes me
killer.
sound like a 7-year-old.
What's wrong with
Chocolate
that?
chip
Nothing
pancakes.
wrong with that.
No, my
nothing.
wife. That's on. This was another one of Maggie's topics, as we know. She likes
Shout
to
out
throw a
Maggie.
topic
She's
for us to
pulling
throw out.
all of them.
But that's an obvious lock on her list is the chocolate chip pancake. So I
And
think
see-
you're onto something there.
Having a kid's gotta be awesome too, because sometimes you're like, "Can I get chocolate chip pancakes?" They're like, "What?" Like,
Yeah.
the kid wants it. Like,
Yeah, it's for him. I
Yeah.
swear, he's gonna have a quarter of a bite, and then I'm gonna munch on the rest of it.
I love it.
First round, third pick overall. I'm gonna go with a family staple. I got a lot of family. My grandmother grew up in the South. Biscuits and gravy.
Oh.
Absolute.
Good
Just
one.
it's your primary. It's your filler. It's your filler. It's
That's a
the
good
elite
one.
wide receiver, the elite running back. It's your playmaker, man. That's who you win games on the back of a loan of a plate of biscuits and gravy.
Very good.
You're not
Very
wrong.
good. So
We're not.
I'm gonna go. So I get two here. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go a combo with both my picks, but obviously I'm gonna go scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
Just a very, very solid pick. Now, quick question: do you guys put syrup on your scrambled eggs?
No, that's
Absolutely not.
That's a psycho move right there.
Okay, so I'm a psycho. So now I'm gonna go with my next pick, which I also, don't mind dipping in the syrup. I'm gonna go with bacon. So I got eggs and
Okay.
bacon.
You sound like
There we go. There we go.
You're going
Eggs and
just
bacon.
the staples. You're a classic guy right there.
Classic guy. We're not
Question.
Our
You-
stats aren't gonna be sexy, but we're gonna get the job done.
If Pigo's
Other question,
building a
were you-
basketball
were
team, he's position specific. He's got your point guard, your shooting guard, your small forward, your power forward, your
Yes.
center.
He doesn't like
Traditional
extra
lineup.
players.
Give me the
Nope.
staples. Give me the staples, and let's roll.
When you brought up the whole syrup in your eggs, were you expecting one of us to be doing this?
I kind of went in blind, but even when I was like little, I just like even
I don't
when my
mind the
dad like just
runoff.
so we just we'd have pancakes, eggs, and like a bacon or a sausage, and just load the whole plate in syrup, and it all just kind
I
of
don't-
blended together. So
I don't mind the runoff of syrup into the eggs. Like if it drips in there, fine, it'll be fine. That's not an issue. Or
I'm
even
not
like on the
dipping.
yeah, but even like on the McDonald's, like what's the breakfast sandwich?
The grill.
The
Yeah.
griddle. There we go. That's got egg on it, and it's a compliment. But I'd rather go hot sauce if I'm going with something on it.
yeah, no, it's gotta
Yeah.
be like a. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
It's either scramble. It's either hot sauce or syrup.
Yeah.
depending on what you want.
One of those losers that put ketchup on eggs. Like you can just go ahead and get the hell out
Oh,
of my
come
life.
on.
Get out.
I like that.
That wasn't
So I got eggs and bacon. We're going back to
I love putting a little ketchup on my eggs.
All right.
And now I like doing it more.
All right. Well, this one I'm gonna go. It's also spiced up with a little bit of hot sauce as well. Makes it even better. Is the meat lovers skillet where it's got
Yeah.
like your bacon, your sausage, your ham, and usually they throw Canadian bacon or something else in there. Eggs. It's got whatever way you want it. The hash browns. Give me that meat lovers skillet. The side of biscuits and gravy or the full plate if you really want to mix things up a little bit. But I
Good
like
choice.
that combo right there.
Good choice, Maddie. I'm just gonna go breakfast sausage. I'm one of those weird people. I prefer breakfast sausage, and I don't care if it's Lynx or Patties. I prefer that over bacon. And I know it's a hot take, and I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but I actually just had a thing of breakfast sausage tonight with my eggs. So it's very versatile, and that you do dip in syrup. That's a great compliment.
Yes.
I agree.
All right, I got two here. They're gonna one of them's gonna be kind of wild. One's hash browns. Love hash browns. Just basic hash browns. Number 2, you used to get, it's almost like a corn dog, but there is a piece of sausage wrapped in the pancake. That's
the lumberjack.
Yeah,
I think lumberjacks or pigs in a blanket.
The big box and stuff. I used to eat those every day for breakfast.
Yeah, can't go wrong there.
Good choice.
On the stick too, though, right? You get those on the stick.
Oh yeah,
That's the lumberjack, I believe.
No, that's a
big
good
market day.
I'm gonna
that's a market
day. That's a blast pass.
We might have to do TCF top 3 market day.
TCF top 3 market day food. Frozen pizza 1-1.
Ice cream in the little cups and then freaking was hard as shit to get out. Wait 4 hours for it to freaking thaw out.
Market day or Schwann's, you guys go.
Absolutely. We had both, man. We were living high. I know my last round pick is kind of basic, but like a breakfast burrito. I love breakfast burritos. And McDonald's breakfast burritos, I will order those 24 hours a day.
I thought I had an absolute home run with breakfast burrito there. I cannot believe you took that.
My wife. I literally order breakfast burritos from McDonald's, whether it's 7 a.m. or 2 a.m. It doesn't, and anything
go wrong. Perfect hangover cure, too.
Absolutely.
Until later. Your belly hurts.
A little bit. Biscuits and gravy work there, too. So that's a key. For the last pick, I got to go with one for my kid, and it's a donut. Just a regular. Give me a good old donut. Whatever your variety is.
Convenient. It's tasty.
It's that little treat, and he flips his shit when we bring a box of donuts in, and it's like ever since that happened, like it's like okay, I've got a new appreciation for these little treats. So give me a good donut, round off my
I'll do the same thing.
My butcher shop skillet, butcher shop skillet, and biscuits and gravy. I got a heart attack waiting to happen there in my triumvirate.
It's a good team. Pico, wraps up, buddy.
I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking, how did we all miss this one? But I mean, it's a piece of Casey's breakfast pizza.
Oh,
how did we miss that?
Yeah.
You know what else we missed, boys, was a waffle.
I didn't miss it.
Yeah.
And I love
waffles. Are okay, but
I love waffles.
But
like, if I'm gonna go, like, you want to talk about putting hot sauce on something? Go get a slice of Casey's breakfast pizza, put some hot sauce on that thing, and it's just like.
I never get it home to put hot sauce in it. It's usually gone by the time I get down the block.
I think I would agree with Zach though too. It's pancakes or waffles, and I'm definitely a waffle guy.
I do love waffles, but I've said that we've had this discussion before.
Pancakes.
Pancakes are just easier.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah. I guess if you like easy. If you're a simpleton,
Yeah.
I guess it is.
Hello. You remember who you're talking to?
Coming from the guy who couldn't figure out an iPad mount, okay? So,
and he was battling fucking birds in his dryer vent.
I think we're all struggling. We're all struggling in our own
We all got problems.
Oh, that was a good draft. Good. Thank you, Maggie, to the
hungry.
The great suggestion there.
She does what Zach does. She's big on the breakfast for dinner. I know, Zach, when I threw this topic out, that was the first thing you went to was how you just had breakfast for dinner. She's big on that. So
I literally just had breakfast for dinner 4 hours ago.
Oh, it's so good.
We did breakfast sandwiches, little bagel, little eggs.
It's 6 in the morning. What do you mean?
Yeah, well, okay, so 11 hours ago.
It's in that window. It's definitely not dark outside.
And who knows? My brain's all over the place. I could be I was up to 2 a.m. yesterday, so it doesn't really matter. I could have had breakfast Sammy's then. So, but that was episode 71 of Typical Chicago Fans. One last time, thank you to our sponsor, Lodi Tap House. Make sure you follow their Facebook pages for their Maple Park and their Utica locations. Get you some food, delicious food. Can't get anything bad on the menu. If you're going to Utica, get you a fully elote burger. Matt, do you by chance know what the Maple Park burger of the month is?
Same It stares at me every time I hop onto any of the social media accounts, Instagram. It's always staring at me right in the face. I think they put it out today because I think it's going away here in May, right? That's the May burger of the month. So
yep. So get you a fully elote burger, and if you're going to the Maple Park location, get yourself a growler or a crawler full of beer. Thank you to Lodi Tap House. From me at BoomyTCF, make sure you follow the main page at Twitter, or on Twitter, actually, at typical_Chicago. Follow the Facebook page, the Instagram page. Just type in Typical Chicago Fans. You'll find us there. Head over to YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube page. And be on the lookout. We're going to be coming up with some new merch. We are out of merch as of right now. Actually, that's not true. I have one medium shirt left, but we're going to get some new merch coming out. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Follow the podcast on Spotify, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, and all your social medias. And then go on Twitter. Follow Zach at ZLiliaTCF, Matt at schools_01, and Pigoy at TCF Pigoy. And like I said, I am Boomy at BoomyTCF. That was episode 71 of Typical Chicago Fans. We love you all.
Peace.
See ya.